What's also so interesting about this is, the whole world has sort of this shared experience of going through this lockdown moment and trying to figure out how to deal with it. But in a lot of ways, like the work that you did, like served as the medium and means in which people could connect, and it was like very much like a frontline solution to a lot of this. I was wondering if we could talk a little bit about some of the like leadership or management mechanics on how you like spun up this new area and started to build some of these new products. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like in terms of identifying the problem, bringing in people within the team to help solve that? And I guess what were some of the most challenging parts about that moment?
The number one thing that I was looking at is if you end up with a team size of, let's say, 200, 300 people, which is like very large size, is and they don't know you from Adam. And then you show up and they say, I'm the new leader for this team. And yeah, we've seen each other in dog food sessions, or we've met in few meetings and so on. Um, how do you get the team to be motivated? How do you inspire them to do the right work? But then how you also keep them focused on execution, because that's what matters the most here. And for that, I did use my experience a lot into setting up the team well together. So, for example, uh, I started by defining what we need to work on, what we need to deliver. But this is not like a 3 year, outlook, or here's a roadmap for the next 5 years. It's like, here's what we're gonna do in the next 3 months. Here's what we're gonna do next 6 months, and oh my God, if we can even dream, here's what we're gonna do for the next year. And then start cutting up the project and the work and the ideas into a must have, and like your standard way of doing it that way. Okay, but then uh, we started. I didn't want to get people into like some sort of a death march or execution or a war room that never ends kind of a deal. So I wanted to inject, believe it or not, a little bit of a fun into this project. And so the first thing that we started going like, okay, on Wednesday or sorry, every day we all need to use our own products. This is the whole concept of dog fooding. But then it turned out that what's a good way for the team to socialize with each other because of the nature of the product. But then I start adding a show and tell. So every Tuesday we will have show and tell, just like you did in elementary school, where you come to work, you join everybody on the team, and you say, I was working about this idea, or here's some code that I wrote, or here's a product that I put together, or here's a study that I did. And the only rule is you have to cheer. You cannot say, oh, why didn't you do it this way? Or, this is like, it's not a review, it's not a invitation for criticism, it's just to help and support and get inspired by the work. And so you start figuring out there are people who are like super serious, there are people who are balanced, there are people who get inspired, and you start these apart, like all these different tools to what motivate people and get them going. And then you use all these tools to build the leadership, have different styles, have different diversity, and then start moving the people into the right places, so they are happy with about what they're doing. This is again back the concept of happy every day, figuring it out, what gets them motivated in the short term and the long term, and try to connect the two, and take the time to go work with them. Once you have a team that's over like 300, 400 people, I can assure you, and everybody who probably have a team of this size, you will get on a daily basis somebody who comes to you and say, I don't like what's happening. My feet hurt. Can you massage them? And you massage their feet, and you support them, and you do whatever it takes because you believe in the team, and you want to support them. But then that becomes your job. So um, you you cannot ignore, especially in a stressful time, how important it is to build this human connections among the team in order for that to be reflected in the product itself, because you don't want the product be built by unhappy people. You end up with building unsuccessful product, in my experience. and then drive that through.
One quick side question. Do you have a favorite show and tell moment?
My favorite moment when people came and said like, oh, you know, here is code that does this thing, and it's usually like a fun producty stuff. And then you'll be like, oh my God, this is exciting, good job on building this amazing prototype. And we're like, what prototype? This is shipping tomorrow. I'm like, even better, like that to me is show and tell became an slight an infomercial about what a great job they've been doing and ready to go. So it's almost like a book from when you see an announcement about a product and be like, oh, this is cool. When is it coming to market? And be like, oh, it's available now. There are certain product like actual features. When we introduce AR effects, the ability to augment your face and augment this, and then you put everybody in the room and they say like this feature available, and then within 2 seconds everybody's looking like a bee or like a some animal or around the fireplace or camping or doing something like, yeah, those happens all the time, and then it built a great relationship between the team. But to me, being focused on execution, I'm like, okay, this is great, wonderful, high five. And they're like, no, 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 this is actual stuff. This is going to go to millions of people or hundreds of millions of people. That is the favorite moment for me, because I'm going to do the same thing that I saw in show and tell with my mom the next day.